So with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League just around the corner, and having done a video essay on Man of Steel, I thought it was the perfect time to do an extended video on Batman v Superman, and in particular, an analysis for the Ultimate Edition of the film. This is a 3-hour version of the movie that can be found on the Blu-ray releases, and it's one which really maximizes the potential of the plot and gives us a better understanding of what Snyder really tried to do with the project. I'm going to be discussing why this edition of Batman v Superman was so much better, and why I personally think the film deserves more love than it gets. I am covering Zack Snyder's Justice League when it releases later this week, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss out on any of this content. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into why the Ultimate Edition makes Batman v Superman a great film. So after watching Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice at a special midnight screening in 2016, which included a double bill with Man of Steel, I left feeling weird. I liked the film, but I thought that something was wrong, and my main critique was the pacing of the movie. There were plot points such as the important one of Superman being questioned after the incident in Africa that felt like it could be a really good one to explore, but there was something missing. Fast forward 6 months later, and the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman was released on Blu-ray. This version of the film included 30 minutes more of footage and really allowed the film to have more time to set up all of the elements it was juggling. More importantly, it included a few early scenes which focused on this Superman conflict and brought more tension to the film, come the second and third act. Now, the film still presents a weird feeling, but one that involves seeing these iconic characters being placed in a deep situation and questioned over their very purposes. I think it's unusual for the audience to see Superman so down and Batman so unhinged, but in regards to the story and the mythology of these characters, this is the right approach for what Snyder was going for. And I must say, after many rewatches, I really appreciate what he did, to the point where I think the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman is actually a great film. Coming to the plot of BVS, we know that Superman has arrived recently, while others like Batman have been in this world for a while. So we get to know this universe from Superman's point of view, but we also learn Batman's one. Now, many criticise the reasons behind the fight between Superman and Batman, but I think those criticisms were too influenced by the mixed up feeling left by the movie, mostly due to pace and cuts. If we analyse the plot itself on paper, it's a good one. The main one is the possibility of Superman being a threat, and whether we are willing to let that happen. We get this feeling through Bruce's perspective, and we understand it right from the beginning when he sees his whole building and the city of Metropolis being destroyed right in front of his eyes. We can actually feel his rage when he looks up to the sky watching Superman fight Zod. The consequences of the existence of a being like Superman are disproportional and unlike anything we could ever imagine, and since we can blame him for bringing those threats, just like Bruce said to Alfred that he brought the war to us, there's every reason to take down Superman. Along with the main plot, we have all the political, religious and society aspects mixed in, and that makes Batman v Superman an interesting film to begin with. With the theatrical cut, my and many others' main critique was the pacing, and this was understandable. When you watch the Ultimate Edition, everything feels so much smoother, has time to breathe, and manifests better in the mind of the audience. You notice easily every cut which has been removed from the theatrical version, and watching the movie in its whole as it was supposed to be and as Zack Snyder had in his mind from the beginning, it can really make you change your mind about how everything works. This is clear from the beginning when Superman comes to save Lois in the African desert. There were actually many cut scenes in this part, and when you get to see this scene complete, the rest of the movie makes more sense and the plot events hit that much harder. For example, we see a more detailed version of how Superman is the victim of a conspiracy, making him seem like a bigger threat to the opposite side. With the whole movie and pace being smoother than the original, we now feel more of the tension that Zack Snyder had tried to set up. Compared to Man of Steel, where it's based only on Superman, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice also doesn't have quite the same amount of action, but we have much more at stake, and the tension, which increases from the beginning, lasts through till the very end. The action scenes get more intense and close to each other when we approach the end of the film, which makes sense as we finally get to know the outcome of the story with Doomsday. Now, I do think that there was a lot that Snyder tried to put in this film, and it might have been better to focus more on the elements in the first 2 acts of the movie, such as the dilemma with Superman and keeping the rage from Batman there. But regardless of this, the 3rd act does form the outcome of the conspiracy with Lex Luthor, and having a clearer picture of what he was up to makes the 3rd act also hit that much better with the Ultimate Edition. This is where we come to the action of the film and the faithfulness that Snyder does also keep to. As mentioned above, there are not many action scenes compared to Man of Steel. They are calculated and escalate progressively in Batman v Superman. But from the car chase with the Batmobile, the battle with Doomsday, Batman's warehouse fight, and against Superman, it's just the right amount with the right timing during the movie. We already know how Superman fights, but to see this new Batman is delightful. He fights the way we would have expected from the comics, and in a way that we never had the chance to see before. And we have all the Batman toys so smoothly incorporated into the movie too. He's been around for a long time, and he uses his weaponry as we would have expected from the Caped Crusader. Just like Wonder Woman uses her bracelets, but also suddenly uses her shiny lasso without the need of telling us anything. They all are iconic characters with iconic abilities, and we don't need to waste more time on certain details that we already know about them. But what the plot and action focuses on is the tension that is built up throughout the film, and this is the integral element that keeps everything streamlined and interesting. And the actual confrontation between Batman and Superman is perfect. It doesn't change a lot with the Ultimate Edition, except for a few cuts. But if we pay attention, Superman does try to talk to Batman, but doesn't have time to negotiate and has more important things to do, like saving his mother. Batman is stubborn and Superman is only left with the option to take him down quickly. Despite this, we do see the pure goodness that we expect from Superman, the fact that he doesn't want to kill Batman, otherwise he would have done it already. Now, for the one saying the fight was too short, it's important to note that in this grounded world, we have essentially a human fighting Superman. One laser through the skull, one sharp move, one snap of the neck or pound to the ground, and it's done. Batman is not Zod and can't take Superman's hits for too long, even though he doesn't want to kill him. And if Superman wanted to, the fight would have been shorter. To make a fight between them last longer would only be illogical. But we do see the technical advantage that Batman can bring, and with it all the rage he has been put through. This is where we come to the Martha dilemma. This is the most discussed scene in the whole movie, which has resulted in many parodies being created from it. But this resolution didn't shock me. Batman is a tortured soul due to his parents' death, and his nightmares stem from it. The last word coming out of his father's mouth before he died was Martha. As a rich and spoiled child, Bruce was close to his mother, and she was everything to him. Now, I'm sure a lot of viewers didn't realise that both Batman and Superman's mothers had the same name, but like the movie shows us, saying Martha's name triggers Batman's trauma, and seeing Superman down on the ground struggling to say his mother's name reminds Bruce of his father saying the exact same words. And while standing there ready to kill him, it places Bruce as the murderer, and he realises in this moment how far he'd taken things. Even in a general way, he realises how much of a fanatic he has become. What sense would it have made for Superman to say this in a direct way instead of giving her name? He's Superman and he doesn't have a family anymore to the eyes of anyone, so he has to be more specific. On top of that, we would also be wondering whether they both know each other's alter egos already. Batman is the greatest detective and Superman is, well, Superman. As Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, there was already a tension between those two characters earlier in the movie, and Lex Luthor increased it as he obviously already knew who they were. But in this moment, the alter egos are removed in the moment of potential death. It's become personal, and we get into the soul of what drives these two men. If Man of Steel was about fathers, Batman v Superman is about mothers, and the very first scene of the movie ingrains this into the audience's mind. In conclusion, Batman v Superman critiqued two of the greatest icons in pop culture, and with this, it brought a heavy response. Unfortunately, today's society is all about criticising and proving who's best, and if anything, the film was self-aware in highlighting this with the turn of Ben Affleck's Batman in the story. With many comic book movies on the big screen applying the same methods and appealing to the masses, a film like BVS was always going to get the response it did in this landscape. At the end of the day, film is subjective, and regardless of what I think or what you think, there's always going to be a range of reactions to a given piece of art. The thing I love about BVS is that there are so many different reactions to the film, which shows it's done its job in making us think about these titans a little deeper, and it makes us want to revisit them in this adaptation as time passes. That's what great art does. And the Ultimate Edition is one which fully allows all of these discussed elements in the film to breathe and makes plot beats such as the court explosion scene appear even more powerful once we've seen more context. A lot of films work better in not showing you certain things and keeping the mystery, but the Ultimate Edition of BVS is different. Seeing the bodies being burned and how it's framed on Superman constructs an exaggerated form of manipulation in the mind of the viewer, and this is much more powerful to see once we're introduced to the character of Lex Luthor and how the world currently looks at Superman. We see manipulation in the real world on a daily basis, whether it's through the media, politics, or certain conflicts, and Zack Snyder tried to craft a film that we could all react to, whether it be positively or negatively. He certainly got that reaction. But if you haven't watched the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, I would definitely recommend watching it, as in my opinion, it is much better than the theatrical cut that released in theatres. I don't think the movie is perfect, but it's one that I really like because it forces us to see these characters in a different light and context, while striving to make us ask questions of them. The more I see the Ultimate Edition, the better it gets, and hopefully as time passes, many more audiences will form their discussions on the film too. But that was my video essay for the Ultimate Edition of Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman. Again, it's all subjective, and I'm sure many will disagree with my points, but it's great that a film like this can create so much discourse and rewatchability over the years that we are still talking about it today. We'll have to see how Justice League turns out on March the 18th, but after revisiting Man of Steel and the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition more recently, it definitely gives me the added excitement in the build-up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are towards this edition of Batman v Superman, and do you agree with the points I have raised in this breakdown? For more videos on Zack Snyder's work, including the director's cut of Justice League when it releases later this week, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to leave a like rating. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.